Um,
Forgot to hit record before, so there we go.
I just got that message.
Yeah, just like give her like a little brief introduction of like who you are, what the Jennifer Keeping Center is, and then we'll move into the questions.
Yeah, so just thanks so much, Emma and David, for having me. My name's Eleanor Muggah. I'm the program coordinator of CBU Inclusive at the Jennifer Keeping Center. So just to give a bit of an introduction to the program itself, the Inclusive program is for youth with intellectual disabilities who are interested in having a university experience. So university experience means taking part in a social aspect of university, academic aspects, events, participating in any kind of programs going on campus, whether that's intramural sports or volunteering or being part of clubs or societies. And then also students get to audit courses. They do what's called a participatory audit. So that means that students get to attend university courses with their peers. And then if they are interested in doing assignments or doing any kind of schoolwork for the courses, then we help them by doing modified assignments. Yeah, we basically set students up with all of the supports that they need to do university their way. And yeah, that's just kind of a bit of the gist of the program.
All right, so I guess that answers our first question.
Yeah.
We'll go on to the next one then. So when was CBU Inclusive created? And I guess like what sparked the creation of this program?
Yeah, so it's actually a really funny story. We have a faculty member here at CBU, Lynn Levat. Lynn is the president of the Down Syndrome Society, but she's also in the education department. And she's a parent of a person with Down syndrome. So Lynn approached the president of the university and basically just asked, why don't we have an inclusive program? And President David Dingwall was like, I don't know. So President Dingwall went to the manager of the center, Jacqueline Cote, my boss, and basically talked about the possibility of starting a program. And at that point in time, funding was an issue. But then Jacqueline got an email in her inbox about the Youth Day program, and we were able to start the program with that funding. So that's when the inclusive coordinator came in and we started getting the program set up. But the reason why the inclusive program has been put in place is in part because there just needs to be more options for youth with intellectual disabilities, especially if they're interested in, going on to post-secondary, being alongside their friends from high school, or meeting new friends who are in the same age group. So really a gap in programs was identified, and so the CBU Inclusive program was born.
Yeah. Awesome. So I guess the next question would be, who was able to apply for CBU Inclusive?
Yeah, so youth ages 18 to 24 can apply for CBU Inclusive. They should self-identify as having an intellectual disability. And then just basically our minimum requirements would just be that you're interested and enthusiastic about getting involved in the program, and that there is some support there from family or friends, somebody that can also be a support for the student while they're here at CBU.
Awesome.
Mhm.
So my next question would be, how long do individuals attend school for? And is this program similar to a 4-year degree?
So the inclusive program, students can attend between 2 and 4 years. Students are expected to take between 1 and 3 courses each semester. So their course load is based on, what they feel they can take on. So it's not super similar to a bachelor's degree in that students don't get credit for the courses that they take. However, they're taking the same courses as any students that are involved in a bachelor's degree. They get to make those same connections with professors, with librarians, with staff, and with other students. They get to use all the same services that any other university students would. They get they get their own, CBU email. They use the Moodle site where all the courses are on. And yeah, it's very similar. It's a similar experience to somebody that's in the Bachelor of Arts program or something like that. And another thing is students have a lot of flexibility in terms of the courses that they choose. So they aren't as restricted in terms of course requirements or things like that. So if there's something that's of interest to them or lines up with their career goals, then we will try and get that student registered in that course. So yeah, it's pretty flexible. And of course, there's also the supports offered through the Jennifer Keeping Center that inclusive students can take advantage of as well.
No, that's great. I'm glad there's some flexibility there.
Yeah.
I actually wondered myself when I was looking into the program initially, how it worked in terms of like what courses they could take if they required like prereqs or whatnot to move on to other classes. So it's good that you're able to work with them to figure out what's going to be
Yeah.
best.
Basically, the way the whole registration process works is I just sit down with the student and they will tell me what they're interested in, and then I look at the course catalog, and then I approach the professor to get permission for the student to audit the course. And usually professors are very open to having inclusive students in their class and helping in whatever way they can to assist students in their class. So it's great.
Awesome. So is there a limit to the number of students that the inclusive program takes on each term?
Yes, so the inclusive program is a very small program right now. Maybe eventually it'll be larger, you never know. But as of right now, we can accept up to 5 students, and that's for the full program. So right now we have at least 1 spot left. But yeah, there's only room for up to 5 spaces, and then after that, the student would be put on a wait list. But with that being said, we do have students graduating out of the program as well. So if you can't get in 1 year, you might be able to get in the next year.
Awesome. So I guess I don't have this question wrote down, but I'm going to ask it anyways.
Yeah.
So you're just accepting people like on a year by year basis. So it's not on a term basis then?
Well, we can accept people. We've had students start in the winter as well as in the fall. So doesn't really matter. It's just if there's space in the program, really. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So what does the application process look like for this program?
Yeah, so the first step is filling out an expression of interest form. So the JKC's webpage on the CBU's website has a link to the application form in the sidebar. So you'll see on the inclusive page, there's an expression of interest form. You just go into that. It's a Microsoft form, and the student would fill that out. Once I see that the applicant, the interested person has filled that out, I will get in contact with them and we'll arrange an interview. And that interview is basically just to feel out what the student is interested in, what kind of programs they might be interested in participating in on campus, and also what kind of supports they might need to help them be successful during their time here at CBU. So, we can figure out whether a person needs a personal attendant to go to classes with them, or if they need any kind of technology to assist them through their classes. So that could be Dragon speech-to-text software. It could be text-to-speech readers. It could be peer tutoring or peer mentoring, or academic success coaching, help with organization, help with finding social events on campus. So yeah, we just have a meeting to discuss all of that stuff, as well as the interests of the students. And from there, they would fill out an application form through CBU. So I have a code for inclusive students who are interested in applying that they can use so that they don't have to pay an application fee when they go in to do that. So that's another reason why we do the meeting first, and then the student would apply through the CBU portal. Yeah.
Right. No, that's awesome that they can get that fee waived.
Yeah.
So I guess speaking about fees, is there a fee associated with the program? Kevin Poirier also asked the same question.
Yeah. So there used to be, but now there's not. We got funding from post-secondary accessibility services, so they cover the inclusive students' tuition for their courses. The Youth Day program can also cover some textbook costs. And then really the only thing that students would pay for themselves would be school supplies. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I guess another thing I should mention too is inclusive students have access to all the same funding with post-secondary accessibility services that any student that's studying for credit would. So students in the inclusive program are eligible to receive funding for things like a laptop or noise canceling headphones, or for, tutoring, all those different things. So there's lots of funding out there to help. So you don't have to buy all the school supplies. We can cover the most expensive stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do they have to pay an auditing fee at all?
No.
That's
Yeah,
as well.
no
Okay.
fees. Yeah, no fees at all. So like any of the student fees that someone studying for credit would have to pay, inclusive students don't have to pay.
Great. Awesome. That's great. So you kind of touched on this before, but are courses taken through this program transferable to other post-secondary institutions?
They are not, but students can develop a portfolio of work that helps with employability. If, a student is interested in pursuing something after inclusive, we'd always be willing to help with that, whether that's moving on to finding a job or living independently, we can always support our participants in whatever way we can. And, you know, if there's any kind of testing that they need to do in order to get into, for example, community college or anything like that, we'd be more than willing to help if that was something they wanted to look into.
Okay, that's great. No, I'm thinking too, like I've had participants who have wanted to do community college, weren't really sure though, like what they would want to do. So it's nice though that they could maybe go through inclusive and then go into community college and have your guys' support.
Yeah, and it's you know, really the inclusive program's a great introduction to what it's like to be in a post-secondary environment. So just taking part in a lecture is a really big step, and we can help students develop the tools and the strategies that they need to be successful in that environment.
Perfect. So we're on to our last question. We're Zooming today. So who can individuals contact for more information or to apply?
So they can contact me.
I have your
So
email too. I'll put it in the chat
yes,
in case
yes.
anyone wants it.
Yeah, so contact me, Eleanor_Muggah at CBU.ca, or I have an inclusive email. It's just inclusive@CBU.ca, and you can contact me at either one.
Perfect. I will put that in as well. So I guess that wraps up our questions. We can move into like the Q&A period. If anyone has any more questions that they would like to ask Eleanor, you can turn your mic on or just pop them in the chat. Totally up to you.
Eleanor, I have a question, so I'll take the first question. I'll take the pressure off everybody. Eleanor, what's the I guess what's the one thing that you most enjoy working with and out at CBU?
Oh, I think my favorite thing about working at CBU is it's just such a vibrant place. There's always something going on, always something for people to participate in. And, you know, with the inclusive students, the best thing about working with them is just seeing them develop relationships with their peers and with their professors. I've had inclusive students that have had professors that they've just adored and have, you know, had great conversations with. And you know, I think that's probably the most rewarding part when I hear about these relationships being developed, and just seeing them just arise, you know, organically, like it's amazing. And you know, even just being able to observe inclusive students in class and just see how much they enjoy the classes has been amazing. So yeah, those are my highlights.
That's awesome. And just one more question. Do you want, if you can you share like any specific examples without naming names, just of some of the success stories, you know, they've come in and basically what kind of progress they've made, maybe just kind of share like an example to the group.
Yeah, so we have a student right now who's doing a work placement with us at the Jennifer Keeping Center. And they've actually been doing a lot of proctoring for tests. So that means basically any students that need a separate room, they just go in and supervise the tests. So they've been doing that, and this is their first work experience. So they've been able to audit the Bachelor of Arts in Community Studies work experience course. So the students doing the work experience plus doing all the work that goes along with being in that type of course. And then, you know, this student has gotten to know pretty much everybody in the center and has been doing so great and has been really enjoying his placement. So that's one thing. We also had a student who, when we first started, was able to be a part of the behind the scenes production of Dracula. So they really enjoyed doing that. They got to help with some of the backstage stuff and doing makeup and just getting to see what it's like to do a production behind the scenes. We have a couple of students that are in a drama course, and they got to get a tour of the Boardmore and see the lights and the costumes and where all the magic happens. And yeah, it was really great to do that as well. So yeah, we have students that are, taking it all in and participating and having lots of fun.
No, that's super great. I guess nobody has any questions in the chat. I don't know if anyone wants to turn their mic on and ask anything. Oh, Kevin asked a question. So has the effects of the pandemic affected accessing work placements in the community?
Well, this is our first inclusive student that has done a work placement. But as far as we do have an employment specialist that works out of the center as well, and our inclusive students can work with him. During the pandemic, I think there was some issues in accessing work placements in the community. But right now, we're actually at the highest number of students that have been employed through that program. So, we were affected for a bit, but now we're right back to before the pandemic, and then even a few more students. So yeah, it's gotten a lot better over the last few months. Yeah.
No, that's great. Does anyone else have any more questions? I guess we'll just wait a minute and see. Give them some time to maybe type in the chat.
Sure. Yeah, no problem at all.
Yeah, I guess that means you guys must have did a good job answering everyone's questions.
Yeah, I hope so.
I think we hit a lot.
Yeah, I guess like another thing I could mention is, yeah, like I mentioned, we do have the employment specialist that, also helps inclusive students, and he can help them with things like, their resume, or, even if they wanted to go out and try and search for a job on their own, he would definitely be supporting that. And then, yeah, he also helps with, like I said, the work placement and work integrated learning. So we're hoping that we can get more inclusive students to audit the BAC's work placement in the future. And then also we have a youth day program. So students, we have some certifications that students can get. So we've partnered with the Maritime Environmental Technology Institute. I think that's what it's called, METI anyway. And we have some online certifications available for students with disabilities, as well as sometimes we also have some on-campus certifications, and we're hoping to have some more workshops up and coming for the winter semester. And that will also include a portfolio workshop. So students can actually take all the certifications that they've gotten and develop a portfolio. And of course, that also means any schoolwork that students have done, they can put that in the portfolio as well and demonstrate their progress and what they've learned.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think any questions are going to roll through. So great job to both you and Emma there. It was an awesome conversation. So I'm sure everyone got to learn a lot more about what you do out there. And I'm sure we'll try to do our best to, Eleanor, to keep people in the know through our bi-month or bi-weekly newsletter, just if there's any
Great.
programs or anything coming up new and exciting with you guys. So we would
Great.
certainly to share with the group. So
That's awesome. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I'll let you know if we have any youth day program events coming up. And yeah, we'd be excited to have more participants for that for sure.
awesome. Well, it was a pleasure, guys, today for this wonderful conversation. So, and I can speak for everyone, I'm sure, on the call. Thank you very much, and hopefully, you know, you may see some traction of this, folks contacting you. And again, for everyone on the call, we'll be sharing this the video link there that you can push forward to your colleagues to help them learn more about the good work that's happening with CBU Inclusive at the Jennifer Keeping Center. So we'll leave it there. We'll sign off. Again, Eleanor, thank you so much for joining us today. This is wonderful. And all the best to you in the great work that you're doing.
Thank you very much. And thanks for having me again. It's been
Thank
a
you.
Thank you,
pleasure.
Eleanor.
Okay, bye, everybody.
See you, everyone.